Hi guys, welcome to a new video. If you would like to know how you can set up Virtualbox with basic network settings, make sure to keep watching. Also at the end of the video I will show you how to set up full screen mode for Ubuntu 22 desktop, which is something that is an issue that I see a lot when people ask about it, so make sure to keep watching. So to get started, what is Virtualbox? It's actually software so you can create virtual machines, and virtual machine is basically a smaller computer, and yeah, it's virtual, so it doesn't really exist. And in order to create a virtual machine you would need a hypervisor, and that's actually the software that makes sure hardware is being stored in a small virtual machine or a box. So when you create a virtual machine, you can just select how much CPU, how much RAM, or how much disk you want to use. So that's really nice. So a good question to ask yourself is why should you use virtual machines? There's actually like a lot of benefits to it. You can use a lot of different operating systems. So if you have a virtual box setup, you can make one virtual machine with Ubuntu, but you can also run another version of Windows or any other version. So that's really nice feature. And another thing is that it's really fast to set up. You can create a virtual machine in seconds. You do an installation and yeah, it's finished in a few minutes. And yeah, also if there's an operating system and you would like extra CPU or RAM, you can just easily adjust that in a virtual machine. So those are really great options. And also in VirtualBox there's a lot of cool options for backup and recovery. You can, for example, clone or move your whole VM to a different VM or a different PC. So those are also features I will show you in this video. So yeah, to get started, we will start on the VirtualBox website. You can go to virtualbox.org, and on the left you can go to downloads. So at this section you will see on which platforms you can run VirtualBox. I'm on a Windows host, so I will select the top one. And while it's downloading, you should also get the Oracle VM VirtualBox extension pack. That's basically an extension pack that's needed for the USB support and some other functions. So just get that as well. So the installation is finished. So let's get going. And right away you can get like a notification that it's not Microsoft verified. That's no problem at all. You can just click install anyway. Just get going. So firstly we'll have some basic options. We can just click next and next. We can create some desktop shortcuts, that's fine. Next you will see a notification on network interfaces. At first it seems a little bit scary, what's it gonna do, but actually it's no problem at all. VirtualBox is gonna create an extra virtual interface on your computer, and that's gonna be used for the network on VirtualBox. So you can just click proceed with the installation, and let's get going. So the installation is now finished. Let's get started. We can close this one. Alright. So to start off, you will start with this screen. I've got two VMs here already. I've already used VirtualBox before, so it will automatically get those VMs. So to get started, I would advise to go to File and open your Preferences. In here you can choose a default machine folder. So if you have a specific drive or any location you would want to create a virtual machines, you can edit it out there. So that's alright. So another thing you can check out at the beginning is the Virtual Media Manager. So there are some different tabs here. You have the hard disks tab. Those are the disks that are used when you created your VMs. So I've got 3 here now. I've got one software RAID machine with 2 drives and one single drive for the other VM. You can add a drive here, but mostly you will do that when you create a VM. Then you also have the optical disks, and that is a nice one because in here you can upload ISOs in which you want to use for your VMs. So you can do that out there. just click on the app button and then you can select the ISO you've downloaded. So let's get started with the setup of a new VM. And at the top we can select new, and yeah, we can create a name. So I will be creating an Ubuntu system. Let's do Ubuntu 22.04 LTS, and yeah, when you choose a name that's already the operating system you're going to use, it will automatically select that, and otherwise you can just check out which one you're going to install and select that. So we can click next. In here we can just select how much RAM we want to use. That depends on how much you have in your system and what you're gonna need. So we'll do 2 gigs here, 2048, and click next. Next you can select if you would like an existing hard disk or create a new one, and we will be creating a new one. We will create a virtual disk image. And then this part is pretty important. There's a difference. You have dynamically allocated and fixed size. This means if you create a VM and you assign a hard disk of 10 gigs, with dynamically allocated, it will only use up the space that you have on your VM. So if your VM itself is only 5 gigs, it will only take up 5 gigs on your hard drive. But if you create a fixed size disk, then it will already create the 10 gig folder, and it's already in use on your system. When you have dynamically allocated, once your VM expands, it will automatically size up, so you won't have to worry about that. So I would advise to use dynamically allocated. We can click next. So here's the folder we are creating it in. Let's get a 25 gig drive, and now we can create. Now we see the VM has been created, so that's pretty good. So to get started with our VM, first let's get into the settings to make sure some of the settings are set up correctly. First we can go to storage. In here you will see an empty optical drive. At this point we will attach an ISO, so whatever you would want to install. And here we can choose and create a virtual optical disk. In here I've already uploaded my ISO, so I'll select the Ubuntu 22 desktop version and choose that. So that's now connected, so when we start up the machine the ISO is loaded. Then we can also go to network, and we will change the adapter options to bridge adapter. Later on I can get into this deeper, but the easiest option would be to start with bridge adapter. So we'll configure that. So that has been configured now. So now we can select startup here, and then our VM will be booted. So we have a nice little console here, and you already see the installation is booted automatically. So yeah, I will install Ubuntu 22 now. So the installation has now been booted. We can select install Ubuntu. I will perform the installation and get back to you guys when it's done. I also have a video how to set up software RAID. So if you would like to set up a server with Ubuntu 22 software RAID, make sure to check that out. I will leave a link in the description. So yeah, the installation has now been finished. When the installation is finished, it will ask you to remove the installation media, and then select enter. When an installation is done, Virtualbox will automatically eject the virtual ISO. So that's done automatically, that's good. So we can now log into our new system. Alright, so we're now logged in. Let's take a look at our network settings. At the top we can go to our wired settings. Then we will see that we've already been given an IP address. So let's head into the terminal and check if it's actually working. We can, for example, do a ping to google.com. You'll see we get a reply, so that means the internet connection is working properly, and it also makes sure that DNS is working. We because we're using google.com and not an IP address, so that means google.com is translated to an IP correctly. So that's really nice to know. So in the Virtualbox Manager, I will now show you the network settings. You can go to the host network manager. In there you will see the virtual Ethernet that has been created. Below you will see the IP address that the Ethernet has been given. And in here you will see that the DHCP is enabled by default, and yeah, you will see the lower and upper bound addresses. So between those IPs you will be given an IP automatically if you install which DHCP. So that's fairly nice, and I will always also show you my network adapters. So these are the network adapters from my Windows server, and you will see Ethernet 5, and that's actually the Virtualbox Ethernet. So that's created, and that's being used to give the internet access to the VMs. So the next thing we're going to do is how to use the clone function. There's actually a really nice function in Virtualbox how you can duplicate your virtual machine. So for that we will first now we will power down our virtual machine because that's needed. So let's do a power off, and then it's close. So if you right click on your VM, you will have a clone option. So let's do that. We will just call it Ubuntu 22 clone, and yeah, we will actually just leave the settings all as it is. So that's pretty good. We can do a full clone. So the clone has now been completed. You will now see that I have a second VM which has the same name but clone after it. So let's power on our two machines. So there are the two machines. Because we cloned them, they have exactly the same settings, so it's the same user, it's the same password, everything is the same. So we can now log into both servers. The nice thing also is the clone has been given a newer IP address, so that's actually the only difference, that they have their own IP address. So we can add it into the terminal, and we can do IP A. That's a really easy command to check what IP address is installed. So we can see our interface here, and we see that IP address 232 has been installed. So let's get over to our other server. We can do IP A. And here you will see this VM has been given address 219. So that's really nice. And the other good thing is that they're in the same network. So they can also ping each other. So let's do a ping and then to the address of the other server. So that's 68.1.232, and you'll see it will receive a ping and it's reachable from the other side. So that's really nice. You can transfer files, or you can do a lot of stuff with that. So that's pretty nice. So the next thing I wanna show you is how to set up the full screen mode for Ubuntu 22. So for this I will just power down one of the VMs because we don't really need it right now. So we can get rid of that. So to get started, we will need to run two commands on the server. So let's open a terminal. Let's begin with a sudo apt update. That will make sure that all our repositories are up to date. So let's do that. And because we have a working network connection, that will be no problem at all. So we can go ahead and now type sudo apt install, and then we will need a few packages. We will need the build essential package, and we will need the Linux headers. And to get the correct Linux headers, we actually can use a subcommand. We will do a dash, and then we will do uname -r, and they will make sure to replace this section with the kernel we're running. So that's actually a good one. And then the third package we will need is the dkms, So let's install that. And that's gonna install some packages and some dependencies, so we can just go ahead and install that. So the packages have now been installed. The next thing we will need to do is to insert the guest edition image. We can go to devices, and then we do insert guest edition CD image. And now that's connected, we can close our terminal for now. So on the left you will see the virtual image. We can open that, and we go to our file explorer. When we right click, we can open that in a terminal. When we do a ls, we will see all files that are in there. Basically what we will need to do is we will need to do the autorun.sh file. That's just basically a bash script, and that will need to be executed. So we will execute that, enter our password, and now it's going to be installing some things for us. So after the installation has been finished, we can power down the VM, because we will need to adjust some settings. So we can just go to the settings of our VM, and we go to display, and then we can adjust this to 46 MB. That will be enough, but you can also do more if the resource of your PC can handle that. So let's select that, and then we can power it back up. So let's log into our server. Now when we enter full screen, the full screen mode will appear. So that's actually how you set up full screen mode for Ubuntu 22. So to end the video, I would like to show you one more option, and that is a function to make snapshots of your server. That's actually, it will just take a point in time with all your files, and it will take a snapshot of that. And so if there are any issues, you can boot from that snapshot, and all files will be restored. So let's demonstrate that. For example, we will have our home folder here. Let's add a new folder, so a test folder. So in here you will see the test folder. Just to get started, we will go to machine, and we say take a snapshot, and we say before folder removal. We click on OK. So now the snapshot is being created, and yeah. So what we will now do, we can delete this folder, and yeah, we really want to delete it. So the folder is now gone. What we can now do, we can power down the machine, and we can just reload from that other snapshot. So yeah, we will power down, and then we go to our VM, and we can go to our snapshots, and then you will see our snapshot before folder remover, and you will see the current status changed because yeah, we removed the folder. So we click on the before folder removal, and we will do restore. We will then do restore. Current snapshot is folder removed. We'll do OK. Alright, so now it has been restored, and we can now start the VM. Let's see if it has been restored. So when you boot up, it will say it's been restoring, and here you will see our test folder is back. So that's actually a great way. So guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you really liked it. If there are any questions on Virtualbox or Ubuntu, just let me know in the comments, and I'll be gladly to help you out. So if you think this video was helpful, please make sure to subscribe. It would help me out a lot. I really like doing these type of videos, and if you have any ideas on videos I should make, just let me know in the comments, and yeah, see you on the next one.